the intricacies of this deal we've seen in other transfers before. Mangala, obviously, they paid an awful lot to Porto, but they also paid off his third-party ownership as well, which is why it was such an inflated transfer fee.
Well, we've seen plenty of impressive attacking players leave Porto in recent years, but not so many defenders. And I think he's struggling to adapt to the greater pressures, the better strikers in the Premier League. It's going to take time. You've got to give him at least one season. But for me, the early signs aren't particularly good. He's been pretty clumsy. He's made a lot of mistakes. So you'd be a bit worried if you're a City fan, because they spend a lot of money on him and he doesn't look like the real deal to me.
Well, this was a remarkable piece of business for Chelsea. Let's be perfectly honest about that. They managed to get a player who Jose Mourinho didn't particularly rate off the wage bill. They got him for about 30 more million than Paris Saint-Germain probably would have paid in the first place. And they brought in Cesc Fabregas, Felipe Luis and Diego Costa, and probably still had money left over once you factor in all the other outgoings. It was a fantastic piece of business from Chelsea.
Don't know what they were doing, especially when their spending was capped in the summer and they seemed to blow it all on David Luiz. Jose Mourinho knows his defenders. He likes defenders who defend, and David Luiz prefers to fly up the pitch and take free kicks and score goals, but that's not what you want. I think we saw in the World Cup, especially in that semi-final against Germany, that he's not a top-rate defender, and I think PSG, they've had a howler there.
I think the Mata signing was a bit of a strange one, because obviously he came in January when United were really struggling last season under David Moyes. Would they have signed him in the coming summer if they'd had that kind of little bit more breathing space, if they'd done better last season? I'm not sure they would have done.
Yeah, for me, he's had a good season for us. It's not been easy for him because at times he had to come up from the bench. But whenever he's played, he's done well. And like I said, I think Van Gaal's probably trying to find the best position for him at the moment. For me, he's more of a 10, just behind the front two. But unfortunately, we've got Wayne Rooney can play in that position as well. So it's competition which you want at Manchester, which you want at any club, especially that's what we can have at Manchester United.
He was Chelsea's Player of the Year 2 years in a row, and even the Chelsea fans were questioning Mourinho a little bit after that transfer because they love Juan Mata, but I think we're seeing now it was the right move. He wasn't mobile enough for Chelsea, and in this Man United side, he's on the bench a lot of the time now. Now they've signed Di Maria and they've got Falcao and Van Persie and Rooney, and they're trying to fit all these guys in. And I wouldn't be too surprised if Mata's not even at Man United in the next year or two.
With Cesc, Chelsea knew what he was getting. Already knew the Premier League, it fits completely into the Chelsea system, the type of football that Mario wants to play. It's already proved what type of player he is. It's passing, a player that he gets in the box, that he scores goals. So already proved his value for money.
I thought that was a fantastic purchase. Obviously Arsenal had first refusal on him. They decided not to take that option, and Chelsea swooped in very quickly to do a deal.
He didn't really seem like a Mourinho player when he was playing at Barcelona. You know, he had this false nine thing going on, and he was playing on the left wing sometimes. But maybe Mourinho saw in Fabregas a player who wasn't really been treated properly by his previous club, and maybe he was making plans for that transfer. That if he ever got hold of him at Chelsea, he would turn him back into what he thought would be his prime position, and you know, extract the maximum output from him, and he's done that. This transfer is an absolute snip. They got rid of Romelu Lukaku for 28 million and brought in Diego Costa for 32. I mean, the upshot of that is that they paid 4 million for Diego Costa, who was probably the best striker in Europe last season.
He's exactly the type of player Mourinho was looking for. He fits the Mourinho mould in terms of a Drogba type. So he's a younger Drogba. He scores goals, he's quick, leads the line brilliantly. He's got a great physical presence about him. He's an intimidating looking character as well. But he is, I think, one huge part of the jigsaw that Mourinho was looking to fill, and he's filling it very well.
People see him as this striker that he fights all the defenders, but I think technically he's very good. He's a player that he can create a lot, and his scoring rate is amazing. He's proven he gets better and better every season, and Chelsea has already seen that.
They spend a lot of money on a teenager. The thinking is that he'll be their left back for the next 10 years, perhaps even longer, and it could work out to be a great value signing in the long term.
Obviously, it's all about his potential. He'd shown great signs at Southampton, but that's all they were, kind of signs, early moments of a career. And really, United were always going to have to pay big to pay for what they hope he will be in the future. Manchester United have done this with Premier League players in the past. They've picked the best players from the Premier League. It's a tried and tested formula for United, really.
Alexis Sanchez has done such a good job at Arsenal. You know, it makes you wonder why Arsene Wenger isn't going for players like Sanchez already in his time at the club. I mean, you compare the impact that Özil made when he signed for Arsenal last season compared to, you know, what Sanchez has done this year, and they're miles apart. He's already their leader. He's already almost captain in everything but the armband. He's scoring vital goals for them. Their entire attack sort of rotates around Alexis Sanchez, and he really has been, for me, the signing of the summer.
I think Alexis Sanchez is the kind of player who needs to be the focal point of the side. He wasn't quite that at Barcelona, but he certainly is at Arsenal.
He was the best player at the World Cup, he was the top scorer, and so obviously Real Madrid would want him.
Yeah, this is a typical Real Madrid signing. You know, it's very much a statement from Florentino Perez. We can still command, you know, the best player at the World Cup, and I think it was a statement to Barcelona after they moved for Luis Suarez in the summer transfer window as well.
I think football nowadays, what you pay is obviously for goals, and it's a player that he won't score as many goals as he used to because of the players he's playing alongside. But I think in his case, only time will tell how well he can perform for Real Madrid in terms of goals. Obviously, as a team player, I think he's already worth the money because he's already fitting in what Real Madrid requires.
It was an extraordinary transfer in a way because they needed to spend big in the summer, Manchester United, but nobody really thought that needed to be in the front department.
It's a baffling one considering the price that United ended up paying for him. 75 million euros for a Real Madrid substitute is quite a lot of money. And is he the exact type of player that Manchester United needed? I'm not so sure.
Sí, me sorprendió porque estamos hablando de Fideo, es un jugador que está dentro de los 4 o 5 mejores jugadores del mundo en este momento, me parece. Y me sorprendió porque aparte venía a ganar la Champions, un jugador importante para el Real Madrid, te había dado mucho al Real Madrid. Y bueno. Pero bueno, se fue al Manchester, o sea que no, tampoco se puede quejar demasiado. Sí, sin duda, sin duda. Los grandes jugadores creo que al final terminan demostrando lo que son, y Fideo es uno de ellos, así que lo ha demostrado en Portugal, lo ha demostrado en España y bueno, seguramente lo demostrará en Inglaterra.
His wages alone, something like 90-odd million over the course of his contract, shows the lengths that United have to go to now to attract players to the club. They're not coming for the prestige, they're not coming for the Champions League football. Angel Di Maria came for the money.
The transfer to Barcelona never looked in doubt. We knew before his bite to Giorgio Chiellini that he was likely to go. It still went ahead, and you know, it was almost accepted that he was going to go there because Barcelona were just willing to spend whatever they had to get him to the club.
Barcelona signing a striker for such money is always, it's going to be difficult for any forward coming in to make an impact, quite simply because the shadow that Messi casts over Camp Nou is so large. You know, Samuel Eto'o went there, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, David Villa, Thierry Henry. They've all tried to live in the same front line as Lionel Messi, and not many have succeeded.
Well, I think Suarez was a lot more valuable to Liverpool than he was to Barcelona, and we're seeing that already. It's been a slow start, but you've got to give him at least a year. We saw with Neymar, he had a slow start and he's picked up a lot this year, but he's never going to be the main man at Barcelona with Messi there, and that's going to be the problem.
You know, what they have there is a player of genuine quality, genuine hunger, genuine work rate. He will be a very good player for Barcelona, but will he enjoy that hero status at Camp Nou that he had at Anfield? I sincerely doubt it.